And now we should
Yeah.
we should be good. We should be live
Don't-
when this ends.
Don't
We're gonna be
fart.
live.
Don't do nothing.
Ready?
You're here every day.
Hey guys, how you
There's
doing?
What's up?
Good,
Mr.
good.
Martinez was up today.
Hey, not a whole lot. So this is episode 3 from the Mindful Lotus here in beautiful Lake Elsinore. We're here at this incredible place of spiritual healing and energy, good positive vibes going on here.
Mhm.
I got Rimo, our guest
Good
today,
morning.
and Louis, one of the staff members here at Mindful Lotus. So anyway, Rimo, thank you for coming out and joining us today here at Mindful Lotus and being part of this podcast. This is historical content that we're doing here.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for inviting.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Let's see if we can talk about something interesting today.
that's right. Yeah. So, part of the reason why we're doing this is one, because we're trying to educate people on the whole idea of spirituality, and so that they're not afraid that there's a separation between God or whatever they believe and spirituality, right?
Mhm.
And I've had a lot of people challenge me since I started hanging out with spiritual people.
Yeah.
And so I've had people challenge me, tell me like, the more you get into spirituality, you're gonna separate yourself from God, or you're searching for something different,
Mhm.
in your life. Why aren't you satisfied with having God? And I try to explain to them, I do have God in my life. God is the center of my life. But it doesn't hurt me to know other things that are out there that may help me or enhance or help me understand my relationship with God.
Exactly.
And there's other benefits, like meditating, that some of the practices that they have here at Mindful Lotus, some of the therapies and stuff like that, actually help you get in a better state of mind, so that you can have a better connection with God.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, and then the other thing that I think is important to people like myself and other people that we know that are creative is, how does that spiritual walk or that spirituality or that energy, how does that come to play in with your career and what you do for a living? You know what I mean? So, so first of all, we'd like to find out and show the viewing audience, like, what exactly is it that Rimo does for a living?
Oh, that's even a difficult question these days. It's like we get to a point, I've done so many things in my life just like you have, and this is kind of the, I would say, fourth huge chapter in what I do. But I've done all the crazy things as teenagers we all have. You're doing selling shoes, or you're working at McDonald's and all that kind of stuff, and then got into natural gas business, ended up getting into management, worked with them for about 16 years, ended up going from utility business and making a profession out of my hobbies, which was music at the time, music and film. And I was doing that kind of stuff even when I was working at the natural gas company, and decided to come back out to LA, go back to school after 15 years. I was married, had kids. Everybody thought I was crazy because I was quitting that cushy job. What's the first thing your parents tell you?
What are you, crazy?
Yeah.
You got a great job. What are you, crazy?
Exactly. Yeah, I had the kids, I had the white picket fence, the house, all that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden you're going, no, I want to go back to school. I'm going to start learning something else, and then everyone says, are you nuts? And as we were talking about some things that probably happen in your own life, about your parents push you to go get that good job, get your comfort zone and all that. But I tend to find every time I fall out of my comfort zone, that's when things start happening for me.
Yeah.
It isn't without faults, I'll tell you that much. But from there, natural gas company, went into the entertainment industry, and then getting partners with this guy. We did some awesome things, post-production companies. We ran a theatrical trailer business and music as well, music management.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of on to the next chapter, which is basically technology and kind of saving the world at this time.
Environmental impact.
Yeah, not actually, Superman stuff, but environmental impact. As you said, we're trying to make our mark, not only through our products that we're doing now, but also technology that we're doing.
Yeah. So let's go back to so the beginning part of your journey. I mean, you grew up in Tucson, Arizona, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Originally from Tucson, Arizona, born and raised. Ended up moving from there to Las Vegas, Nevada, back to Arizona, back to California. So, I'm a rambling man, as they say. So
you are a rambling
just
man.
take it where you go. Lord, I was born a rambling man.
Yeah,
That's what
right.
I was.
Yeah, so you came to California to pursue the dream of working in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Before that, you had a very quick pit stop in Vegas as a DJ.
Oh yes, that was actually when I was working for the gas company.
Oh really?
And
you were moonlighting?
Yeah, I was. Thursday through Saturday, I was moonlighting, and I was working as a meter reader at the time for a company called Southwest Gas.
Wow.
Their home headquarters were actually in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah. Even though they were in 3 states, they were part of Nevada, Arizona, and California, and worked in all 3 of those states as well. But while I was there, I had the opportunity to work as a DJ
Nice.
in a nightclub, and that's kind of a funny story in itself because I kind of fell into it by accident. As I said, I was doing it before, as a hobby and things, and then I used to go to this club in Vegas. Got to know the DJ there. It was a really hopping place at the time. It was called the Brewery. And the Brewery was a really big nightclub, and below it they had a bowling alley.
Oh wow.
But a lot of people went to this thing. So I frequented it, learned got in touch with the DJ because I always wanted to know what the DJs were doing.
It was records back then, right?
Yeah, LPs, right. Man. You had to carry the cases and everything. Now these DJs have that hard job. They have a little flash drive. Plug it in, here we go. Not saying they're not talented. That's just the way it was. You carried in crates of stuff where you had to stack them up. Mm-hmm. But again, another long story short is just the fact that I met this DJ and he asked me to actually play at his birthday party as a DJ. Well, he got so messed up, he's the one who regularly plays on those nights, that he couldn't perform. So he asked me to go to work with him and do the set for him because he couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And he did all the talking and stuff. I was doing all the mixing and stuff. And then after that, I was working there every week after that.
So he lost his job. He lost his job.
And, he actually had the better shift. You know how Vegas is. Vegas is open up, 24/7. So he had the night shift, and I started it was about 10 to 12, sometimes 1, and then he would come on and either 12 to 3 o'clock or something like that. That's how we ended up doing it, but it was by total accident. And then I just started playing there and got into the whole thing, and as I said, later on just made a profession out of my hobbies, which has helped me out a lot because the DJing and the music really helped me to a point with theatrical trailers, which is the other thing I started doing was editing. Yeah. And it was just knowing where to cut beats, listen to beats, loop stuff, effects, just everything that we were doing in the music scene, just kind of putting it with video now. So
what was that DJ's name in Vegas, the guy that you worked with?
Oh, DJ, the one guy he was actually a guy from Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
And he used to call himself DJ Swiss E.
Swiss E?
Yeah, Swiss E. And there was another DJ at the time, I think, Swiss Beats, right? He was Swiss E.
Producer.
Producer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Swiss Beats.
He was Swiss E. And like a dash E, like Evil E.
So after you became the opening band for Swiss E, so then you migrated over into LA, and you actually went to recording school, right? And not necessarily for editing, right?
No, I actually went in for recording engineering. Everybody wants to go in and make records, make songs, all that kind of thing. And halfway through the recording engineering school, I started seeing post-production audio because they only give you I think it was 10 hours of lecture stuff for post-production audio.
Yeah.
And with post-production audio, you have to put things to video, right? Mm-hmm. And but you're watching video and you're adjusting levels and putting effects. And I was like, wow, I like this. I like the video part. because I like creating something with music. So then from there I went, from the recording engineering school, I went into film and TV as well. So I was
Nice.
taking both. And so by the time I got out, I was looking for work, started doing some jobs I really didn't want to do as an editor, but I needed some work.
Chippendales?
Yeah, actually, you're pretty dead. It was a little more risque than that, man. Let's put it this way: I was editing people that didn't have any clothes on.
Oh man, they gave you the dirty work.
Yeah, it's the dirty work because you have to work your way up, and
Yeah.
I just did that for a while, and then I got lucky enough. My sister's neighbor happened to work for a trailer company.
Mm.
And I just kept talking to him. Eventually asked him, hey, can I come work for you? They had an opening. I became an assistant there. And the rest was history. I just
Nice.
started editing, doing my thing there, and was there ever since.
Yeah. So editing, and then the trailer house, working in post-production. You put your hands on some pretty cool projects, and one of the ones that was the most memorable for me was the story that I tell all the time when we had a mutual friend, God rest his soul.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you had just finished a job that was pretty epic, and you showed it to me, I think like during the week sometime.
Yeah, you were actually in the office when I was editing it.
Right, and then you leave to go back to Arizona with your family.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at this person's house watching an episode of The Apprentice with him. And then all of a sudden they cut the show and they go, now the world premiere of
Spider-Man.
Right?
The very first one.
And it was a 5-minute, like really intense trailer that just showed all this epic footage with music and sound effects and everything. Right before that came on, this guy, our friend, mentioned to me, he said, I really need a good editor, Nick. And I said, I know a really good editor. And he goes, no, I need somebody that understands. Like, I need somebody that knows how to tell a story. And I said, my friend knows how to tell a story. And he goes, well, I need something like, just, you know what I'm talking about, that Hollywood style editing. And I said, okay, that's my friend. And he goes, what has he done? And bro, I can't even tell you, God, life, and good karma, bro. Right about that time, they cut the show and they went to this world premiere of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting on the sofa and I go, well, he did that. And he goes, he did what? And I go, he did that. He goes, what do you mean he did that? I said, what you're looking at right now, that's his work. And he goes, are you telling me that your friend did that piece? And I said, yes, he did. And he said, get him on the phone. And then after that, you were able to do a really cool project, a couple of cool projects with him, right?
Yeah, we did a show. That's what the whole purpose was. He wanted to do a reality show. It was called Son of a Gun.
Mm-hmm.
And he happened to be a guy that we both know, and we don't need to go involved in who he was and what he was,
Right.
But he was very influential in Beverly Hills. And, started working with them on the reality show, doing certain things. They were working with the same company that does American Idol. I think it was Fremantle.
Fremantle Media.
Yeah, so anyway, that's what happened. You even called me in Tucson. You said, hey, I want you to talk to someone. It was like right away. I was at a Easter picnic or something like that.
Sorry to interrupt your vacation.
I just wanted to see if I was real, that's all.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And then after that, you guys did the thing with the Beverly Hills choppers, which was the little mini choppers, and then you were able to do some promotional content for them, right?
Yeah, we did a lot of stuff. We had Paris Hilton over at his house all the time, he was actually designing these choppers for at the time. He's doing these choppers that had crystals all over them, miniature choppers. And then he got a lot of different models and things, and it became a group called Beverly Hills Choppers.
Yeah.
And they had these women who were models that modeled on the choppers. So he did stuff on his roof all the time with these cool choppers and beautiful people around, and it turned out to be a really, really successful thing. he was doing choppers for so many different celebrities. You know, I mean, I couldn't even tell you all of them, but you know, even the guy at Run DMC, they've had some.
Yeah, Baby Fat.
Baby Fat, yeah. Oh yeah, there was special designs for Baby Fat at the time.
Yeah.
So you know, it was like so many different people were buying these little chopper things.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you know, I mean, besides that experience that I had, you know, and able to show people what you do and the talent you have, you've worked on some other projects or with other people at the company, of course, but having your hands on some really cool movie trailers. What are some of the films that you've actually worked on?
Well, you know, fortunately, I've worked on a lot of franchises. You know, Men in Black, worked with a lot of those from Sony. Spider-Man. We did a lot of international stuff. Some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which won, you know, Academy Awards. Just so many, you know, Django Unchained. You know, it's really gotten to a point where I forget what I've worked on because it was like we had a new project every week or every month, and it was always changing, and you kind of get that stuff out of your mind, and then you move on to the next one.
I'll help you.
Yeah.
Book of Eli, Social Network, Burlesque, Taken, Shaolin Soccer. I mean, I saw that you guys had done like the whole Seinfeld DVD campaign.
Yeah. But you know, you want to know what was the craziest one that got so much publicity for me that it surprised even me?
Huh.
It was a movie called Zombie Strippers.
Oh.
And it was and I was like, what the hell? Oh, that was me. So sorry about that.
Okay.
But anyway, it was called Zombie Strippers, and it was just a B-type movie. It had some well-known names. Tito Ortiz was in it. He played a bouncer. Jenna Jameson. And here's what happened though. Made this trailer. It's just a zombie movie basically. About, well, the title says it all. Zombie strippers, right? It was just kind of like an old school horror film, right?
Yeah.
But what ended up happening, it had a cult following that people started watching this thing, that it got officially announced in Newsweek at the time.
Wow.
About being the best trailer they've ever seen for this type of genre, and I was looking at it like, really? But it got so much press, and everyone kept calling me up like, well, hey, isn't that the trailer you did? And it just got to be this whole thing, and then it was on Entertainment Tonight, and all this stuff started happening with it. And I'm like, wow, I've done all these other things, and this is the one that actually got all the press. You know?
That's crazy.
How did you guys meet?
We actually met when we were working with a hip hop group, and he was doing their video and I was helping him with their
We'll give him a
music
shout
stuff.
out to the Latin Pros.
Yeah, shout out those guys.
The Latin Pros were way ahead of their time at the time.
Yeah, so those guys were the reason why we met, because they told us like, hey, you guys gotta meet each other, and so we met. Working up at Ice-T Studio at the time.
It was Ice-T. I was actually helping him with the music. He was helping him. I mean, you were helping with the music. I was helping with the videos.
Yeah, and he shot all their video and edited.
Up at Ice's house, we were always there, but we were always.
You guys are always together.
Yeah.
I know one shows up without the other in a party.
Yeah, that was kind of how it was after the fact. But it was kind of took months, not months, but weeks to kind of meet each other, because we kept crossing paths at Ice's house, but we never really met. Oh, Nick just left, or hey, stick around, Rimo's showing up, and I gotta go, whatever. So we were all just crossing paths, but that's actually where we met. It was Ice-T's home, and we're doing some projects, and
it worked.
He decided to teach me everything he knew about music, and I was able to teach him what I could teach him through film and television.
Yeah.
So that was a win-win situation.
That all worked really well.
Yeah.
Cool. The one thing that I did learn from you specifically, because I never was open-minded enough to receive information like this from anybody else, and it's a trust thing.
Mm-hmm.
I got to know you, appreciate what you stood for, appreciate you know, how you do business,
thank you.
and how you interact with people. And the thing that you opened me up to was spirituality.
Right.
Because at the time I was looking at religion as the focus, and the religion is what I've been taught, and to look for my answers and to look for information. And then after I met you, then I understood that it was okay for me to research other
Right.
opportunities or other teachings. And so tell me a little bit about how you got into the whole spiritual aspect, and how did you find that?
You know, my own belief is that everybody has it, and I'm gonna say something. I hope it's not bashing religion, because some people need religion, but everybody has their own light inside them when they're born, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And right away, you're born into a family that kind of, usually, in most cases, dictates what your religious beliefs are going to be.
Right.
I was raised Roman Catholic, was an altar boy, you know, hung out with the priest, I did weddings, funerals, you name it. But I was still always questioning. I went to Catholic school also, but I was still always questioning why, how come,
Mm-hmm.
which got me in trouble a lot of times. Especially with at a Catholic school, you have you know, nuns, and at that time, that's when they used to slap your hands with rulers and make you kneel in the corner, and you know, they're just things we wouldn't do to kids now. That's just the way it was, and that's not what it's not a gripe or anything. It's just the way things were. But I was always questioning things, and it just, as I grew up, I just started searching for it, and kind of got away from the Catholic Church. But as you start getting into the spiritual side of it, it's really, you start seeing that some of the religions kind of keep you in a bubble. Like, these are the things you can do, and these are the things you can't do. And I'm not saying that with every religion, but that's kind of the way I see it now.
Mm-hmm.
Spirituality allowed me to talk to God directly. And that's kind of how I started doing it. I started probably really realizing it where I wanted to be when I was probably 12 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because at 12 years old, I started reading books and listening to tapes, and anybody that I could find that was different. It would be a Swami, it'd be a, I don't know, tarot card reader. I was searching. However, when you do into the spiritual side of it, you're not really searching. You're just trying to remember who you are, because we all are God.
It's not our first rodeo.
Yeah?
It's not our first rodeo.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. We're here because we want to experience what Earth has here, to be the human experience. And you know, God doesn't put these limits on you.
Right.
Someone once asked me if I was a God-fearing man, and I said no. Well, why would? And they said, "What do you mean you're not God-fearing?" I said, "I'm not God-fearing because God's not that type of person. Why would I be afraid of God?"
Right.
You know,
That's
God
a
is
good
not a
point.
vengeful God, if you really truly believe it.
Right.
And so that's how I grew up, pretty much. You know, just
Right.
kind of keeping an open mind about anything. And I've studied different religions, just not study them like go to school and be a theology major or anything like that. But you know, if I'm reading a book about the Quran or Islam or things like that, it's not because that's who I want to be. It's just what do other people believe?
Right.
And that's kind of where spirituality has kind of led me in that direction, just allowing me to get closer with God without having to have this four walls around me or someone telling me that I can and can't do things.
Right. So what I learned immediately after hanging out with you and, you know, just going to events and stuff like that is that I learned that to be more open-minded, basically, right? But not to be afraid to understand or try to understand what other things are out there.
Right.
Because I read this book one time called Religions of Today, and it goes through every single religion that's out there. Every single one of them. It tells you how it originated, who is the person behind it that was, you know, developing it or pushing it, whatever you want to call it, what it actually stood for, what their beliefs are, and, you know, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised to go through it because it did talk about Buddhism and Taoism and Catholicism, and at the time they written the book Mormonism,
Right.
you know, all of those things. But then I started reading about other things that it's like, okay, these are the ones that will trick you, because there was one in there that was called like white magic, but it was actually you weren't praying to God, but it sounded exactly like you were praying to God.
Mm-hmm.
So then I realized, okay, I've got to be a little bit more mindful of what I'm taking in, and understand, like, where does it really come from.
Right.
So after I met you, then I realized it's okay to read what, you know, what Buddha says about life, or about relationships, or about business, or and then I understood that I could take a little bit of everything and bring it into my own world, and become a different person and a better person through that. And so that was something that I learned from you. How do you use that on a daily basis? Like, what do you do to prepare yourself on a daily basis to go back out into the world?
Well, you know, since 12 years old, as I started trying to learn how to meditate, and Louis is very good at explanations of meditation, and you know, he takes it to a different level as well. But when I was 12 years old, I started taking martial arts, which was another love of mine, which, you know, Asian cultures, and you know, I've been called the Compassionate Samurai, and the Compassionate Samurai is actually a book. I forget the author who actually wrote it, but I've read it a few times. One of those books where you pick up and you just browse through it. But it takes the philosophy of the samurai and turns it into what your purpose is in life, and how you treat other people, basically. So meditation became an early part of my life through the martial arts, and the martial arts was something that really started opening my mind about just awareness, consciousness, pretty much. And it wasn't saying you can and can't do things other than don't hurt people, you know. It's like, but that's kind of what I do daily. Try to meditate, take time for myself, and I'm gonna tell you, it's not an easy thing to just sit and relax your mind and try to do nothing. But at the same time, that's kind of what I'm doing every day. I try to read, constantly listen to things. Come to places like this, the Mindful Lotus, you know, which is a magical place, a spiritual place. The energy is amazing here. So, you know, you start hanging out with people who have the same vibration. We talk about vibration. We can get on that, another subject matter. But vibration is another thing. You know, how the people around you just feel that energy all the time. And that's what allowed me to get to where I was. And I started realizing these are things I never got out of my own religion, which was Catholicism. Everything was being like, you can't, you can, you will, you will, you will. And then I just found this whole thing that was the mindfulness of the meditation. For me, started like getting me in that Zen mode. And believe me, I've been out of the Zen mode too. We all have. You've probably heard that thing, you know, I might light candles and meditate, but there are sometimes I still want to slap people. You know?
I think we'll go through it.
Yeah, but that's what you're there. You gotta kind of pull it in, and but you know, I do that kind of daily. And sometimes I do forget, but you got to take that time and make your mind rest, because you can go nuts thinking about things that are going on in the world right now.
Absolutely. So what are some of the things that you actually practice? Like, do you meditate on a daily basis? Do you pray? You know, what are some of the things, like, if I'm
actually, meditation is probably the most important thing, is doing that at least. But I listen to a lot of vibrational music that's, you know, got tones. Louis has a great classes here, by the way.
Right.
And you know, but the tones, the vibrations, you find out, and maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves, but the farther you go into spirituality, that the vibrations that someone else has become very important, because there's people who might be depressed in bad situations, their vibrations very low, and then you probably need somebody to help you get out of those. But you know, mainly for me, it's about the meditation.
Ground yourself.
Around grounding thank you. It's grounding myself, because you got to be grounded, and you probably heard it before. You've got to be in a good spot to be able to help other people in your life.
Yep.
And if you're not good, why would you expect to help anyone else?
Exactly.
That's true.
So
That's
and it's very tough. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When COVID first started, and then things changed with the job and the work, and I was working at home a lot, and I did start getting depressed.
Yeah.
But you gotta. It's like that's what really kept me going, was the fact of being able to meditate, and I was constantly alone. I mean, I don't mean alone. I mean, I had friends and stuff, but I was in a house. It felt like house arrest all the time.
Yeah.
But they say if you can be by yourself and be happy with that, then the rest comes. And that's kind of what happened. I got my own self out of the depression. I'm like, what do you know, you got to be grateful. That's pretty much what it comes down to. So being grateful every day. I wake up every morning, first thing, I open my eyeballs, I'm thanking God. You know, I thank.
Yeah,
You give me an opportunity to do something on this day.
Yeah.
And then you see what happens, you know. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. And the things that aren't, you don't really say, oh, poor, pitiful me. You just say, what's the lesson learned here?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or I'll never do that again.
Yeah, I've done that before. I'll never do that again. Yeah. But thank you, God, I did get to experience that.
Yeah.
And that's a crazy thing, not to change the subject, but when you start talking about God, people go, oh, he's a religious freak. You know, some people get turned off on it. Well, I'm an atheist and I'm this, but what a lot of people don't understand, you were kind of talking about this when we first started earlier about God and talking to God, but what people got to understand is God's within everybody.
Yeah.
And this was the reason I had little problems with religions, is because they're all praising a God.
Yeah.
You can call it whatever. You can call it Jesus Christ. You can call it Buddha, Allah, you know. And whatever you want, whatever religion you want to get into, they're all pointing up for one God, right?
Yeah.
But then the religions point at each other and go, well, it's our God, not their God. And that's not where we're at, because God's inside of us. In fact, God is us.
Right.
You know, they say, well, how can I be God? He's such a great structure. Well, it's neither a he or a she. The way that I've always put it is, God's not a noun. God's a verb. And that's the easiest way I can explain it. It's not a person, place, or thing. And this is my opinion, and I'm not trying to say anyone else who thinks against it is not right. Because if you get joy or justice out of a religion, or you want to go hug a tree or pray to a weed, and that weed makes you feel better, why am I going to say anything bad about
criticize
that?
You,
criticize it.
Yeah.
But one thing I did realize is that God is not a person, place, or thing. It is actually an action verb. It's a vibration. It's what we have inside of us. It's power.
Yep.
So I try to focus on that all the time and get through the days with it. So when I talk about God, they think, well, I'm preaching. But then when you get into the real deep side of what God is, you know, I've taken different spiritual trips with shamans and things like that, which have really opened my eyes to what is really out there. I think I've even seen heaven. Talked to people who have passed in my life through these.
What's the most memorial? I mean, something you remember the most?
What do I remember the most?
Yeah,
about the trip, the journeys.
Yes.
Wow, what I remember the most is the probably talking to my grandparents that had passed. I was able to see. Sorry, if someone, is that my phone? Someone's phone. Sorry.
Can be your phone, Rimo. You're very popular in this one.
No, you know, it had to be seeing my people that had passed in my life. I had true conversations with them on these journeys, and you go through this journey. Uh, this was an ayahuasca experience that I had at the time, and it's the closest thing you can probably get to life after death without passing away. And so it takes you through the whole trip. You see the lights, the geometric shapes, the colors, and then you get past that, and you have this whole feeling of just love, peace, consciousness. You know, and you're just for the first time in your life, you're not worried about anything. You just feel really good.
Like you're at the present.
Yes. So you've heard people say that they've seen the light and they don't want to come back because it's just so warm. Well, I did see the light.
So peaceful.
Yeah, it's so peaceful. No,
Yeah.
don't take me. You know, it's not your
stay
time.
there. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
getting back to what your question was, I did talk to both sets of my grandparents. I mean, I had true conversations with them. I was asking them, well, what's it like here, and things like that. And it wasn't like we're talking.
Right.
It's all, you know, telepathy. It's passed on. It's just known. You're talking through your mind. And they left, and you know, next set of parents or grandparents come in. And in fact, the first person I saw when I came to this spiritual world, because we weren't bodies, but I did see my grandfather as a body, not just a light. And he was the first one I saw. And when I said, hey, I used to call him Tata, and my Nana, I said, where's Nana? She's not ready to see you right now, but she's going to come out. And I started talking with him, and one of the things I remember the most, he used to smoke these old Dutch Masters cigars or something when I was a little kid. I remember that smell, right? So all of a sudden I'm smelling this smell, and it turned out to be, it was him. And, and then my grandmother came, and then my other sets of grandparents came. I actually talked to a cousin that had passed, an uncle who had passed, and even a friend that passed away in my 8th grade. You know?
Oh wow, really?
That blew me away.
Man.
And unfortunately, he committed suicide.
That's sad.
But this proves to me that, you know, I'm not saying to go out and commit suicide, please. This is a disclaimer. But he committed suicide, and there's the belief that if you commit suicide, you don't go to heaven.
Right.
Well, he was there. So it's kind of like proven to me like there is a life after death. Totally. And you have the choice to come back to Earth and redo it all over again if you want. Or you have karma that you want to pay out, or those kinds of things. You're allowed to come back. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But a lot of people come back for the human experience because it's the only way that the spiritual light can take the physical form. So that was probably the most important thing to me, Lou, was just talking to people who had passed in my life, and it truly was a conversation.
Nice. You have run into some interesting people
I was thinking about that right now.
through the years, and I feel privileged to be in that same space you invited me into with these people. Two of them, one of them is a shaman, right? A spiritual guy, and the other one is a medium, who's incredibly gifted.
Oh yeah.
And what was your first experience like in meeting the shaman, the Swami? Like, what was your first experience, and what did you expect when you went there? Like, because I didn't know what to expect. You know, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen here.
Right.
But because I trust you, I just went with an open mind and an open heart.
Yeah.
And I received great benefits from it. But what was that like for you?
Yeah, again, it was part of the searching part. It wasn't searching to do something else. It was just getting to know people, what they do, what their backgrounds were, just knowledge of what other people believe in. However, everybody, you know, these shamans, these mediums, they're very spiritual, and you know, there's a lot of phonies out there as well. But if you're on a high vibration and you're in a good place, then you're going to attract those people to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it kind of works the opposite too. Like Louis could be working, be on his highest vibration, and he can be attracting a lot of negative people
Mm-hmm.
because that's who they want to get that energy, and they're suck it out of him, so to speak. And how many times have you done that where you've been with people on a lower vibration, and then you leave them, you just feel like you're drained, right? Well, that's kind of how it was with
vampires.
Yeah, exactly, energy vampires.
Yeah.
And these people with Professor Sashi, who you're talking about, it was about meditation, really learning to do it right, because I was doing it at home, no instruction, which is all you really have to do. It's basically praying. You can call it praying if you want to, but again, when you get into it, it's more about where you are mentally, physically, and how you're feeling and your vibration. But Sashi taught me how to get into the real meditation of things. At least quiet my mind in a way. He, especially there's something about hearing that Indian voice and him walking you through it.
See his energy, just being around him is...
Exactly. He's got this, and everything's good, so you got to be good, and I want to be good, so that's kind of how we started. And then he started teaching me a little more than just the meditation part. He also reads palms. I forget how many generations it's been in his family, forever. And he started picking things out of my palm and telling me things, and I was like, wow, is that what you see? And what people don't understand, they feel like, well, they get their palm read once, may not be what they hear, so they never go again. But they don't understand that your palm's always changing. Things happen in your life, the lines in your palm do change. So getting to those people was really an experience for me, basically. They taught me how to get to the next level of spirituality.
Yeah.
And now I'm thankful for them, and try to teach you as well, or just be a part of it. And hanging out with guys like Louie and yourself, and you just keep that vibe up. And Angie as well in the background. And just the vibe that you keep with people is very important to how your self-awareness is. And it's always a gauge too on where you're at.
Yeah.
You can be in the bad mood just because I had to drive 2 or 3 hours and traffic was terrible, and then you come into some place like this and people are smiling, and everything's cool. Wow, that's the purpose. You got to live in the now. Tomorrow's never promised. That's for sure.
That's right.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, I look forward to coming down here to Mindful Lotus, because just that, like what you said, it's like I know that when I go there, I know what to expect, and I know that it's going to be a chance for me to relax and embrace the people that are around here that have the same energy and the same vibration going on, same beliefs, same outlook towards humanity, and life in general, even with the little bugs that are outside, like the butterflies that Angie educated me on, like, it just, those kind of things are the things that are meaningful, that you remember in life. So, I don't think in all these years I've ever got a chance to tell you thank you. You know what I mean?
You have in many ways that you don't know.
For just helping me guide myself. I mean, my family noticed a huge difference in my life. They knew that something was different. They knew that there something was just had clicked. He's not that same person that he was. You know what I mean? And it had to do a lot with me finding balance.
Right.
And which is something that you drilled into me from the very beginning. It's like, Nick, balance, if you drink too much beer, that's not balance. Or just
too much of anything's not good for you. But
I knew that I needed balance when my grandson told me, because I went through a divorce, and he said, did grandma leave because you cussed too much? And I was like, oh wow. So I knew it's like, okay, I got to get some balance. And I know my wife and that I'm married to, Pam, she told me I needed balance in my life, and I didn't understand what that meant. I was like, what are you talking about? What are you trying to get me to do that I don't want to do?
Yeah.
And then I realized it was just my lifestyle. Like I needed to create balance in my life.
I was just gonna say that at that time when we were talking or getting into this, you had a lot going on in your life. I know that. And but the thing was, what I was trying to do was reel it back. Like, these are things that are out of your control. You can't. You were worrying about them. I can't do this, and they get you upset. I get that, but it was like, why are you gonna worry about this right now? Because what you should be worrying about is that you got your house, you got your kids, you have all these grateful things to work out, and that was the balance. It was always within you. It was just a matter of someone saying, you already got what you want.
Right.
It's and once you were able to curb that, is when you took your own path. I mean, you really got into the spiritual side of things, and I was with you, fortunately, for one very spiritual moment, which we met a tribal chief at his house, and I won't go through the whole story, but if you want to, you're more than welcome to.
That was just, we can talk about that some other time, but that was...
but that was a huge moment for you as well, spiritually.
That's one of the, when people talk about you being stripped of everything and just burying yourself.
Right.
That was one of those moments for me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I'm thankful because, at every given moment in my life where I've turned a corner or found a new level, I've always had somebody with me that it made it a more meaningful experience. You know what I mean? So I think the one of the things that I'd like to ask you is, out of all the things that you practice, from meditation to yoga to whatever else you're doing, what is the one thing that you look forward to the most?
You know what it really is right now? Just waking up every morning.
I love it. Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds, it's amazing. As I said, I give thanks to God every morning. But I've really in a place now where I look at every day as an opportunity, especially getting my age anyway. It's like I heard this saying that the age that you're at is the speed limit towards your death. That makes sense.
Wow.
So if you're 2 years old, you're only going 2 miles an hour.
Right.
I'm 60 years old. I'm going 60 miles an hour. You got someone who's 80, they're going 80 miles an hour, and that kind of puts on the brakes a little bit.
Yeah,
it makes you say that, like, wow.
I'm going too fast.
Right, so you try to slow it down,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now. It's just enjoying everything that is going on, my kids, family. I mean, it sounds crazy, but, I'm sure through COVID, a lot of people have changed some things in their life.
A lot.
I mean, look at this guy. I've known this guy for a long time and never knew the spiritual side of him until more recently than before. Always a great guy. I mean, everywhere we met him, and wherever we were at, different places, conventions, wherever we were at, eating dinner, whatever, but never knew the spiritual side of him. But this guy, he can dial me in now, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate what he's doing. And I learned things from him as well.
Me too.
And that's the thing. Everybody's got something they can teach you.
And that's true.
I don't know. Maybe, I can talk to you and you can tell me how to make better tacos. I don't know. But you're going to learn something.
Michi. I take you to Michi. That's the fun. Hey, Rima, let me make you a better taco.
Yeah. But, that's what you got to look at. Everybody in life has got something to teach you. And if you can learn from them, you enjoy life a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying my life's perfect. It's far from perfect. And I am far from perfect.
Yeah.
But that's the greatest thing you can do is say you are, nobody is flawless.
Right.
Everybody makes mistakes, and if you can do that and get through a day, it's all about today, not tomorrow.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, we're thankful. I mean, I met Louis years and years ago, and he introduced me to other people like Jaime Ochoa and just other people that have been instrumental in my life. Angie. Right. I would not know Angie if it wasn't for Louis.
Yeah, likewise.
And I'm so thankful. Her and her husband are amazing, amazing people. Rimo, I think I would like to just maybe close this segment or this episode of this podcast from Mindful Lotus and ask you if you were to be able to deliver a message to anybody that's watching right now, what would your message to them be?
Well, we were just talking about it. Live in the present. Have the best of intentions for everybody, even your enemies. I mean, you don't have to live with them, you don't have to be with them, but you can wish them well and send them on their way.
Yeah.
We can't control everything in our lives. We can only control what we can do. And if
Right.
we're in a good position, you know, the rest is going to follow you. You know, you're going to attract that vibration of the same type of people. And if you don't, you're now a teacher. You are the light.
Yep.
You can bring that to other people as well.
Mhm.
I was one thing I didn't mention, and I'm done, is like I was used to be a president of a club called the Optimist International, which is a pretty big organization, and they help youth, a lot of youth in the nation and in the world basically. And they had this oath. It was called the Optimist Creed. We used to say it all the time, and I probably couldn't repeat. I can repeat most of it, but it's been years since it. But it was one of the. If anyone gets a chance, look up the Optimist Creed, and it's verbatim probably the way I live my life right now.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, a little bit of it goes. It's like promise yourself. This is what you say to yourself every day. It's like you get up and you say, I promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind, to talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet, to make others feel that there's something in them, and to look at the sunny side of everything and make their optimism come true, as well as yourself. To look only at the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best. To be enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. To live in, see, this is where I'm getting at. It's just like, it's a little bit long, and that's why I say look at it. But I would just say, take a look at the Optimist
Those are
Creed.
good points already. I mean, just
Yeah.
what you started with is very helpful. Like basically believe in yourself, be thankful,
Yes.
but don't let nobody control what it is that you have the power to control.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And that's pretty much it, you know. But if you're searching, I don't like the word searching.
Right.
I think it's learning.
Right.
That's pretty much
I like
what it
that.
is. And a lot of people say, well, you're searching. It just means you're not sure about what you're doing. It's not. When you're learning, it's a different situation.
Or remembering.
Yeah, remembering.
Yeah.
And, you know, that being said, Lou, you're right, because when we're born into this world, you are born with everything you need. You know, you're coming directly from God. It's what this world does automatically. What's the first thing kids learn usually? It's no.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're working with someone right now who refuses to say no to her child, but she says no in a different way. She says, I would rather you not do that. Or she doesn't say no, because kids learn no. You know, but when she talks to the child, and that's a whole different situation. But, you know, kids through spirituality have learned that children choose the parents that they're born to. People think it's the other way around. So someone once told me, children come through the parents, not to the parents.
Oh wow, I didn't know. I didn't even think about that. That's pretty deep.
interesting.
Yeah. So that being said, I mean, that's kind of where I'm coming from, and you know, we can talk about a whole lot of other things, but I'm just thankful for being alive right now at this point. You know, it's like, look at, I've got a lot of experience. I've got tons of stories, tons of chapters in my life, and I'm thankful for that, because some people don't. So
well, you know what, Rimo, I mean, we'd like to do this again with you, man, and talk about some other stuff.
Sure.
Especially because Louis talks too much and I couldn't get a word in.
He did all the talking.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, I actually learned from him.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll just pick a couple of topics and specifically talk about those, because you know, we were kind of just going to see what we were going to talk about today.
Yeah, I would love to maybe do a little round table, get Angie involved.
Oh yeah, that's better when you can talk about conversations, because I'll be honest with you, people like us need to, and I don't mean us little group here, just spirituality needs to be talked a little bit about. As you well know, there's a lot of things going on in the world right now. However, this is a huge transition period for the world, the earth,
It is.
and the vibration is going to be a lot higher, and that's really what's happening. We won't do, maybe that'll be the topic, vibrations, next time.
That would be a good one.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Exactly.
God, life, and good karma.
Yeah.
Man.
So I always say peace, love, and light. You know? And Nick has his with karma as well.
Yeah.
So
God, life, and good karma. That's what I live by.
there you go.
Yeah. So Rimo, I appreciate you coming by. We appreciate you coming by.
Thank you, Angie.
And
Thank you,
Louis for inviting us and having us here, and I appreciate the energy. So I just want to thank you for coming all the way out here.
Oh, you're welcome. You all got to come out to
so much,
Mindful
Rimo.
Lotus. We got some great stuff, great
Yeah.
people here as well.
Absolutely.
So please come by, see what you can get.
Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
we are out.
Good to see you.
Thanks.
About